Have you ever opened up a Jira ticket and thought to yourself, why is this field filled out incorrectly again? Or worse, why do I have to keep typing the same thing over and over again for every single ticket I'm creating? It is not just annoying, it is draining. It's draining on your time, on your team, and most importantly, on your sanity. So once you have your forms built out and all of your requests are coming in, you start running into issues where your customers or your users are not submitting enough information or submitting the information the correct way for you to actually start working on the request. And from there, you start to ping pong around and you start to drop comments in the Jira tickets or reaching out via Slack or email, and you try to figure out exactly what that customer or user needs in that specific scenario that they submitted via a ticket. Now, this kind of defeats the entire purpose of having that form in the first place. The idea of having a form in Jira is to collect all the information up front and then have your team triage and work on the requests as they're submitted. Otherwise, you might as well just keep using email or Teams requests to come in and then start to triage them and find out more information by chatting with that individual. The goal of a form is to reduce the total amount of time it takes you to jump on and resolve a request. So when we put these forms together, we're adding fields, attachments, everything else that we need with the ticket. We're even making them required in some cases, and we're receiving all this information so that our team internally can go through and resolve these requests. Now, there is more than one way to actually solve for a problem like this. And if you're interested, check out my video where I helped a stranger fix their Jira environment in 30 minutes. I had an interview with Cash Coin, and we went over a couple of different ways to resolve this, one of which is going to be default values. So when we require our forms or fields, we may want to receive this information in a very specific way. And when we add a default value, we could essentially do one of two things. Number one is to actually create a template on how we want that field to be filled out. So if it's a long text field and it's rich text, we could actually add some formatting in there, maybe some bolds and headers to add different sections to, let's say, a description field, and have that come into our queue with that specific information. And the second option is actually to show an example of how you would want that particular field submitted. So you could draft a quick template with a sample ticket and embed that right into that field. So I'll open up a ticket. You can see the breakout plan is added right here. Now note, any of the previous work items that you created won't get this treatment of default values. It'll only apply to new work items moving forward. So this backup plan is completely empty. Let's go ahead and see what happens when we create a new work item. So I'll click on create, and I'll go to an issue type that has my field. And now we have backup plan with our default value that we added. Side note, this does not have the formatting that we applied because it is not a rich text field. To change that, what we have to do is go to our project settings. We go to fields, and in here we can edit our fields and find the field that we are working with. So I'll type in backup plan and find it in the list. And what we're going to click on is renderers. Keep in mind that this does only work for long text fields, not short text and other types of fields that we have in Jira. And we'll switch this from active render to wiki style render. And we'll click on update, and we'll click on update one more time. Now that this is updated, let's click on create, and we'll go to select another issue type. Now let's check one more time if our formatting applied. I'll click on create and select the issue type with our field. And there we go, our formatting did apply. I did do it slightly wrong. I added one extra star than I needed to. So I could go back and remove that later, but we can format within this field now that it is a rich text field. So that's how we apply custom fields to default values. How do we do it with system fields like description? If I pull up the create screen now and I go to the issue type that I was looking at previously, we have the backout plan with our default values, and then we have the description with no values currently. So how do we add default values to this description? Now, unfortunately, there is no way to do this out of box with Jira or with any other plugins. So here's the solution that I like to use. I would go ahead and create a rich text field like we have here with backout plan. I'll remove description from this view, and then we'll automate and make sure that all of the information from the backout plan gets pulled over to our description when the issue is created. So what is that going to look like? So the first thing I'll do is remove the description from this view. So I'll go to my project settings. I'll go to screens, I'll go to the issue type that I was looking at, and I'll click the pencil icon on the top right to modify it. And now that we're on their view, you can see that there's only one screen associated with this issue type. We need to add one more for issue created for this to work. So I'll copy over this screen name. I'll go to project settings. I'll go to settings on the top right, issues, and here I'll go to screens and paste the screen and find the exact one that I was looking at. We'll go ahead and just copy this over, and I will go ahead and name it something like Jira Service Management Create Screen. We'll hit copy. And now we'll go to our screen schemes. And if we head back to the project that we were looking at, we could find our screen scheme here and copy that over. And if we search for it in the search box, we'll be able to find it right here. So we'll click on the three dots on the right side and click on configure. And then we'll go ahead and associate an issue operation with a screen. Now this is going to be the one that we just created, and the issue operation is going to be the create screen. So here is the CS Jira Service Management create screen. I'll add that in, and now we have the default and the create screen. Now I can head back to my project settings and screens, and we now have a separate screen for just the create option. So I'll jump in here and remove the description from this view to make sure that it's not filled out. Now we'll head back and we'll make sure that our edit and view issues, these need to contain only the description field. So I'll remove the backout plan since that's the one we're using as a placeholder for the description. The last piece is to create an automation to bring over the information from our placeholder field into our description. So to do that, we'll go over to automation. We will create a new rule, and then we will set a trigger of issue created. And then all we need to do is add an action, and we'll edit the issue during this action. And I'll search the field that we want to edit, which is going to be the description. So when we pull up this description, what we're going to want to do is pull out the custom field information and paste it right in here. We're going to do that with a smart value. So to do that, we do open curly bracket twice, issue dot custom field underscore, and then custom field ID. To find your custom field ID, go back to your custom fields. So you'll go to settings on the top right, issues, custom fields, and then you'll search for the field that you're looking for, and you'll go back into context and default values, and then you'll just look at the URL of this field. In this case, at the very end, we have 10043. I'll copy that over, go back to my automation, paste that in, and we'll close this off with 2 more curly brackets. So now we're triggering this whenever an issue is created, and we're editing the description to pull out whatever information we have in our placeholder field. I'll turn this on and give it a quick name, issue created, then update description. I'll turn that on, and let's go ahead and give this a quick test. So we go back to create our issue type. We have our summary. We have our backout plan. We're testing out information. We'll go ahead and create this. And now we'll take a look at what we have in our description. So we don't see our backout plan anymore, but we do see all the information that was in our backout plan previously. So that's how we set it up for our system fields. And for the most part, you'll probably only end up using this for description. But with custom fields, the process is a little bit simpler since you don't have to involve automations. Setting up default values in Jira is a great first step, but here is the real issue. Most of the forms that I see created in Jira are horrible. They're long, they're cluttered, and half the fields don't apply to the individual filling out the form. And that's what we're gonna need to fix next. In this video, I'll show you how to clean up your forms so that they're simple, dynamic, and tailored to each request type. Because getting the right data starts with asking the right questions. Click here to watch that next.